What is a survival myth that is completely wrong and could get you killed? Rationing water is generally a terrible choice. Drink what you have until it's gone. Use that time with good hydration levels to take stock of your situation and make good choices. Decision making and physical ability drop off very quickly when you are dehydrated. The first decisions you make after realizing you are in a survival situation are critical and pay long dividends. Most survival situations are resolved within 72 hours and many hikers are found dead in the desert with full water bottles. Changing the voicemail on your mobile phone to tell incoming callers about your plight. That bullshit just wastes battery. At the first sign of trouble, send a SMS with your best location details to everyone on your contact list. Even if you have no signal, and set it to maximum power save with Wi-Fi, mobile data and Bluetooth off. Your phone will continually try to get the SMS out, even if you get a little signal for a few seconds, and will use a lot less power doing it. Perhaps not really a myth, but something people may think is true after watching people get rescued from the water on TV. Get them breathing and send them on their merry way. If you rescue someone from a near drowning, they still need to go to the hospital, even though they are safely on land now. The lungs are coated with a slippery mucus-like substance called a surfactant. It's kind of a lubricant, and it keeps them from collapsing and sticking to themselves. If they ingested a lot of water into the lungs, chances are they have washed away the surfactant. Their lungs could collapse at any moment and their ability to uptake oxygen is reduced. Get the survivor on oxygen. Source: rescue trained scuba diver here. Drowning people do not cry for help or make gestures to try and get someone's attention. What they are doing is trying to stay afloat and trying to catch their breath. Never count on a cry for help. It usually looks like someone is trying to climb an invisible ladder with their hand barely above the water, and unless you're a world champ water polo player, do not approach without a flotation device. They are desperate, and you will become their flotation device, which can result in both of you drowning. If you go into a lake when in a car, don't wait until the car fills with water. Just open the window and get out as soon as possible. If you wait, you could be 200 feet down or flipped over on the bottom. The power will still work for a short time. It only takes a few seconds. Edit. Source: Musbuddy did his master thesis on exactly this, and I got to practice it several times in a pool. That bears can't run down hills. They can. They'll get you too. I was actually going to try and find this fact, and what do you know? It's at the top. Bears are no joke. They run, climb and swim like a damn CrossFit junkie jacked up on meth. Another thing is they don't gas out quickly. I've seen videos of bears running full speed and swimming across a river and running full speed again to catch prey. Insane. You won't need that. We won't be gone long. Carry basic survival tools whenever you go out hiking, hunting, camping, etc. Things like a magnesium with flint and steel fire starter, a life straw or water purification tablets don't weigh much or take up much space and can be a lifesaver. Many get lost on short trips or get injured, leaving them stuck in the wilderness. It doesn't take a massive forest or jungle to get lost. In my personal hunting pack I always carry a survival knife, fire starter. Myth: if you're stuck in a car trunk all you do is scream for help and make noise. True. If you're ever locked in a car trunk, look for an emergency release lever / button. These are requirements for cars built 2002 or later. Yes, and you can also kick the backlights out in most cars. Zigzag to escape an alligator. Alligators can turn, but can / will only run in short bursts. Just run as fast as you can. Fun fact: alligators only run for short durations because the way they wiggle when they run compresses their lungs, so they can't breathe while running. Another fun fact: same. Do not wander off to look for help. Stay put. Stay by your car or wherever you realize that you are lost. The more you move, the harder it gets for rescue to find you. Make yourself visible, but do not try to find the way back yourself. You already don't know where you are. You don't know where you're going. More just a hey, don't do that. Leave large animals alone. Even if you find say a large track or droppings that make you think hey, that's probably a big enough animal to kill me, leave the area. Herbivores like moose or elk or bison can kill you just as easily as a bear, often far more likely because they see you as a predator. Don't close the distance if you find a large critter. I don't care if the photo is shitty from that distance. Better to have a crappy photo of a bison than get crushed and stomped in the middle of nowhere to bleed out alone. I don't know if this is considered as a survival myth, but engaging street fights is never a good option. If there is an altercation that may lead to a street fight, just stay calm and run away from the situation. No one wins real street fights. Someone will either end up in a hospital or in a funeral. That's just the truth. And if you can't run away, don't fight fair. Fighting fair is for martial arts contests, but definitely run away first. If you're driving during a tornado warning, don't get out of your car and climb up the side of an overpass to hide under a bridge. This myth became famous after amateur video of man and his daughter hiding under an overpass, but the one they chose had some unusual construction that offered them protection in a way most don't. Wind speed increases the higher you get from the ground, and the narrow passages can create a wind tunnel effect, taking the flying debris picked up by the tornado and sending it straight through you at 200 miles per hour or more. Edit. Well, this blew up. Here is the video I was referencing. Actually not amateur, but taken by a TV crew during the April 24th, 1991 outbreak in Kansas. And for someone who suggested you can just outrun tornadoes because they only move at 20 miles per hour, that is definitely not true, as the 2013 El Reno tornado showed us all too tragically. If you're unfortunate enough to be in a bank whilst an armed robbery is underway, don't be a hero. The banks are insured, and the money can be replaced. Your life can't be replaced. Just because the robber/s didn't go into the bank with the intention of killing anyone doesn't mean they still won't if spooked/challenged. A living witness is better than a dead hero. We want to hurt no one. We are here for the bank's money, not your money. Your money is insured by the federal government. You're not gonna lose a dime. Think of your families. Don't risk your life. Punching the biggest guy in prison on your first day. Real talk. From an actual former criminal, your best bet in jail/prison is to just be normal and blend in. It isn't as extreme as media makes it out to be. Landing in water from high up is going to kill you 10 meters. 15. Maybe 20. You'll probably be fine if you land properly. Get much higher than that is getting into broken bones and death territory. Not really advice, but it was a funny thing my brother said. If you ever fall from an airplane and you have the choice between concrete and water, choose concrete. At least that way your freshly crippled body won't have to try and swim afterwards. Don't drink water from cactus. It's not potable and likely to trigger vomiting/diarrhea and you will get more dehydrated. Follow flying birds to find water. They could be flying anywhere, like away from the water they were just at. In colder months especially, if you're lost in the forest/woods, build a bed first. Get your ass off the ground, as the ground will suck your body heat away from you way faster than the air temperature will. Building a raft to sail to civilization. If you ever find yourself marooned on a deserted island, stay on the island and be found alive vs never found or found dehydrated and dead of exposure. Also walking to safety. If you get lost and your car breaks down, stay with the vehicle. They always find the vehicle. Its inhabitants not so much. Edit. Since this comment has seemed to blow up, let me preface this with I'm not a rescue professional and just reposting what seems like good advice I have seen on Reddit. Do your own research. Every situation is different. If you get stabbed by something, do not try to remove the object. You will make it worse and potentially bleed to death, depending on where you were stabbed. If you try and pull it out, leave it be and get help. When I was in elementary school, a kid from a different school got stabbed with a brush during a child play. It went through his lung, and probably in a state of shock he immediately removed the object. He died as a result of it. Since then in every health class we were taught this, and this story was used as an example. Scary stuff. Punching a shark in the nose. Have you seen a shark nose? It's slippery and angles down into 3 rows of teeth. Go for the eyes if you need to, but mostly avoid acting like a wounded seal. If you flail around like AHH fuck it's gonna eat me. The shark will feel obliged to do so. AHH fuck I guess I'll eat you. Most people probably are aware of this, but if you're legit suffering from diarrhea, you need to be doing more than just drinking water, because you're also losing a lot of salt/electrolytes, and not replenishing those can really fuck you up. You can make a pretty basic Pedialyte/Gatorade at home from adding 6 teaspoons of sugar and a half teaspoon of salt per liter of water. It won't taste super great, but you can throw in other flavorings to mask it like lemon juice or similar. I did Peace Corps in a tropical region and most of the volunteers came to dread the inevitable parasite/GI infection episodes, not just because of being incredibly sick, but also because of having to drink liters and liters of Oars, which is Peace Corps preferred Pedialyte knockoff haha. Edited to show more accurate salt and sugar amounts. I wasn't aware that Oars was the unbranded, legit name for this electrolyte cocktail but I do mention it in the third paragraph and I've already gotten 50 comments from people correcting me. Everyone focuses on food and water, but completely underestimates how quickly exposure will kill you dead. In some cases, you won't last 24 hours. Bonus addition to this, every guide I have ever read says to make fire first. Making fire is fucking hard sometimes. There are many environments where you flat cannot guarantee a good fire. Deserts, because of lack of fuel and anything especially wet. If you get halfway through the night and realize you can't make fire, you are going to have problems. So make shelter. You can always guarantee a shelter and insulated sleeping spot. Make sure your bedding is at least 4 inches thick when you lay on it. I guarantee you'll underestimate just how bad the ground sucks the heat out of you. Make your shelter as small, thick and weatherproof as possible. Don't tie a rope around your waist and expect it to save you from a fall. Sure, it might prevent you from hitting the ground, but you can still damage your internal organs and break your back doing this. Safety harnesses go around your hips and legs, not your waist. Fucking Dark Knight Rises. Not really a myth, but if you have an allergy and are exposed to your allergen, for instance bee allergy, and are far away from a hospital, do not delay calling 911 or heading to a hospital just because you feel okay. I learned this lesson the hard way. If lost in a hot desert, do not ration out your water. Drink when you are thirsty and stay hydrated with what you have, even if it only lasts a couple hours, just to keep your mind/body working. Lost hikers have been found dead with plenty of water by their sides because they tried to ration it, became dehydrated without realizing it and eventually died. And no, I still don't know if drinking your pee is a survival alternative. Alcohol does not warm you up. You feel warm since it's dilating your blood vessels in your face and extremities, but that causes you to lose more heat to the environment and therefore will make you die of hypothermia quicker if anything. Not so much a survival myth, but a common camping mistake that an amateur survivalist might make. Never use rocks that are in or close to a riverbed for a campfire. Ever. Many get tiny bits of water trapped inside the rocks. Then when heated by a fire, it turns into a lovely grenade due to the water being heated AMD turned into steam, expanding quickly. Hot bits of rock everywhere. People like river rocks because they are smooth and easy to cook off of, and they look cool, but they are crazy dangerous. Plenty of rocks all around. Find another. We found this out in Scouts when I was around 12. I'm amazed no one got hurt. Everyone just thought it was cool. I don't know if this counts as survival myth, but you don't actually have to, and probably shouldn't, wait 48 hours to report someone as missing. Those first hours are crucial, so report someone as missing immediately, especially if it's a child. Missing children are at high risk during the first 24 hours, especially if abducted. In 76% of child abduction murders, the victim was dead within 3 hours. 88.5% were dead in the first 24 hours. Hiding in an overpass during a tornado. Please, for the love of God, don't do this. You have a better chance at surviving in a ditch. Fun fact: the bridge acts like an aircraft wing, increasing the wind speed under the bridge and funneling debris. Back when I lived in the Midwest, we were always told to get into a ditch. You should rub frostbitten skin. Don't. Ever. Frostbite occurs when ice crystals form in your skin and other tissues. Rubbing the injury causes more tissue damage as the ice crystals lacerate new cells. Instead, treat the victim with painkillers as you slowly rewarm the tissue. Frostbite hurts. Also, you can't survive solely off natural survival foods. Any survival book will show you how to harvest in a tree bark for food, or how to boil and reboil lily pad tubers and skunk cabbage so they are palatable. You'll also learn that hemlock needles are edible, plus how to cook and eat snails and so on. These are considered survival foods because they are things that are edible that you wouldn't likely eat in a normal situation. The myth here is that you can survive off them for an extended length of time. But the reality is, if you are only eating survival foods, you'll start feel sick and weak after a day or two. Some of these survival foods also have little to zero caloric value, which makes them pointless to eat. Another big one is, if an animal eats something, it's safe for you to eat it. It's not. You should always fight back when you are being robbed with a deadly weapon. This is false. Only counterattack if you have the opportunity to, or unless you do not have any other options. Do not counterattack if someone is aiming a gun towards your head, like in the videos from Detroit Urban Survival. Visit Active Self-Protection on YouTube for better tactics. Alternatively, if someone is trying to take you to a second location, fight like hell, because they'll probably kill you at the second location. If someone breaks into your house and takes you and your family captive, you absolutely need to run away, even if they threaten to kill your family members. If you do, it may seem cowardly, but running away to a neighbor's house for help and leaving your toddler with the captor is more likely to save all of your lives than staying. After getting bitten by a snake or trying to suck out the venom, do not do that. By sucking the area of the bite, your blood flows faster and increases the speed of the venom acting on your body. It'll just get to your heart quicker and kill you. For the love of God, do not eat everything raw. If I see another episode of Bear Grylls eating a bat or bird as raw as sashimi, I think I'll go crazy. You should absolutely try your best to cook the food you've nabbed, even if it's through an open fire for a few minutes. Eating, say, a dead bird that may or may not have bird flu is a hell of a lot worse than creating a fire to cook it over. Congrats for completely screwing yourself by eating raw wild meat. Edit 1. Holy bird flu Batman. I just woke up and saw that my inbox exploded. Edit 2. Holy grammar. I was tired and I was using voice to text. Fixed a lot of it now. You absolutely cannot run across the chins and snouts of open gator or croc mouths. 1. You need to be quiet. 2. You can draw a can of bear spray faster than so many post about mountain DJs. Reality is, if you hike alone in bear or mountain lion country, you absolutely should be noisy. Carry a noise device and be loud. If a speaker, for sure, mute it around others. But something, whistle, air horn, speaker, don't matter, need to be noisy when alone at regular intervals. Keeping a first aid kit in your car. Of the commercial kits on the market, 90% are little OE class kits. Take a real first aid course, learn what should be in a kit, and make one yourself. And if you do buy one, go through it and understand what everything in it does and how to use it. Periodically check to make sure it is okay. Replace anything that is past its use by date. An emergency is a really shitty time to discover that you can't close a major laceration with 100 expired My Pet Monster band-aids and a pair of as seen on TV scissors that are rusted shut. I haven't seen it yet, so I'll say it. Do not drink your piss. I don't give a shit what Bear Grylls says. Albeit, you can briefly drink your piss before getting sick, but urine is literally your body flushing out toxins from your squishy innards. Relying on drinking urine will make you more dehydrated than before, get you extremely sick, that is fever, infection, etc., and can lead to kidney and liver damage / failure. So as a survival myth, it's probably one of my favorite to see people try. It probably won't get you killed, but remember that sudden, dramatic changes in diet are really bad for you. If you're doing disaster preparedness and need to stockpile some food, make sure it isn't too different from your everyday diet or you could get yourself sick, which is the last thing you need during a disaster. Also, there's just no good reason to force yourself and others to change diets during a disaster. Like yeah, you can eat cans of spam in a disaster, but Cliff Bars and chocolate work just as well. Here's a good one. If you're in an elevator in free fall, do not jump. It won't make your landing easier, it'll probably paralyze or kill you. Lay yourself flat to try and distribute your weight, as well as the pressure of the crash, more evenly. You'll give yourself a better chance at survival this way. I mean, it's an elevator, so no guarantee you'll survive, but still small chance is better than none. Edit to clarify, I understand most modern elevators are fitted with safety measures, but you also have to keep in mind that most construction sites that are multi-level do not usually have this luxury, because they are a temporary fixture for the sole purpose of moving material. Not to mention older buildings may not be so lucky to have owners that are willing to renovate and restore. I remember visiting a hotel that had the oldest, dirtiest elevator I'd ever seen, and I was honestly terrified. Lol. This isn't really a survival myth that anyone spreads, but when I was a kid I thought, if I jumped out of a plane on top of a table, I could jump off the table just before hitting the ground, and since the table was below me, and therefore was really the falling object, in my child brain, and I was only falling as a result of being on the table, that my upward momentum just before impact would cancel out the rate of descent of the table and I could land safely on my feet. Good thing I never tested it. Taking off all your clothes and snuggle with someone to prevent frostbite or hypothermia. This does not work, you'll just be found dead and naked. It is great for survival of the species though. Now with clothes, snuggling for warmth does work. If you get caught in a forest fire, that you can survive by finding a big depression or cave and waiting for the flame front to pass. You'll die from suffocating as the fire consumes all the oxygen. You have a much better chance of running through the flame front. Protect your eyes, face, and especially your airways. Cover as much of your skin as possible. The main things are to protect your eyes, mouth, and nose. Pick a line with the least obstructions, and where the fire will burn less intense. Close your eyes, take a deep breath and run. You'll know once you've made it through. Most people will gasp or try to breathe in once they hit the flame front. That's why you gotta protect it. Otherwise you'll take in a breath of superheated air, instantly blister your lungs, and drown in your own bodily fluids. Don't have a baby to fix your relationship. End the relationship for a better survival chance. I've always heard you should take a deck of cards with you. If you get lost, start playing a game of solitaire. Before long someone will tap you on the shoulder and tell you which card you should play next. I'm not 100% sure, but this sounds like a dangerous myth to me. Surely the person playing solitaire will take offense and shoot you. Having a lot of high-tech gear or military looking stuff is a good thing. If you are in a shit hits the fan situation, and luck like you have a lot of good gear, you are getting jumped or killed for it. Be a grey man. Blend in, look average in a panic situation. In the doomsday prepper community, they always have this fantasy that they will bug out and take off by themselves and live off of the land off the grid. In most realistic SHTF scenarios, shelter in place and establish strength in numbers will be the only way to survive. The dipshits walking around with their Henry survival rifles and some MREs will be the first to go. Predator's heat vision can spot you, even though you're covered in mud. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please subscribe and hit the like button.